Hello everyone! This is actually a build video. This is not a 100 baby challenge video. And I hear you asking, Shasha, why are we in your 100 baby challenge household? And the answer is, I need to explain the family tree to you. So I'm doing my 100 baby challenge, and as you can see, we're about a quarter of the way through. We have 24 kids, but you'll also notice that we've started having some grandkids. And as I've been visiting the grandkids, I've noticed that they're in like the pre-made houses, which are not really ideal for the number of kids that they have. So I was thinking it could be nice to build like a townhouse or like a condo complex or something where we could have all of the various grandkids and their families living, so that it'd be really easy to visit them all at once. So real quick, let's go over them all. Our oldest grandchild is Daniela, and her parents are Tulia and Bentley, and she has two half-siblings, Madeline and Yesenia. So this already is a big family. Bentley doesn't live with them because Bentley's a deadbeat dad that hates children. He's off gallivanting in Del Sol Valley, but the four of them live together, and then I also moved in one of my Sims with them to kind of just help with the kids. So they have five, right? Then here's our grandson, Cecil, and his mom is Sia, who is our best friend, the doctor that delivered almost all of our children, and is married to someone else. I'm a little bit bitter about this whole situation. Like, Sia delivered Luca. She was a whole adult when Luca was born. But regardless, I want Cecil to have a good life. I want Cecil to grow up in a good house. So we're gonna create a nice place for them to move into. So then Bentley has three kids, but they're with different moms. So we'll start with Raquel because she was born first. Raquel's mom is this woman, and she also already has a daughter. I'm not too mad about this situation. They're fine. No one cheated. Brendan doesn't live with them, which is a little annoying, but whatever. I'm gonna pretend he pays child support. So they need a house. But then these other two kids, yeah, they're the two kids from earlier. So Tulia has three kids, one of whom is with our son Bentley, and the other two is with our other son Brendan, making these three kids half siblings, but also cousins, which I just feel like is weird. I don't like it. So the grandkids are really causing a lot of drama. So we're gonna go through and we're gonna build them a nice place. The other thing to note is that all three of them live in Oasis Springs. This is the family that has the two kids from two of our sons. This is where Brendan's other kid lives. And now I can't find Sia's house. No, I was literally here so recently and Sia was living here. Oh, the house name has changed now. That's so interesting. When I visited last time, the house name was Ramesh because that's Sia's last name. I wonder if she married this guy after they had the kid. I wonder if they weren't married yet when the kid was born. Oh, I'll need to check. And holy crap, she's loaded. Why do you have so much money? Oh, I have so many questions. Okay. Yeah, her last name is different now. I'm trying to figure out the timeline and it's not helpful, but Sia's last name used to be Ramesh, like our grandson, and then she got married and her last name changed. So I think she wasn't married when she had the kid. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. I don't know. I just don't think I'd be super cool with being best friends with someone who made my son an accomplice in an affair. You know, that just doesn't feel great. With that introduction out of the way, let's go back to what I was saying about Oasis Springs. So yeah, they all live in Oasis Springs. So I was thinking, wouldn't it be fun to build an apartment complex in Oasis Springs that they could all live in? I want to do it on a properly big lot so we could take over the land grab's house, which apparently they have a horse, or we could take over the park. We don't go to this park all that often. Let's bulldoze it. And with that, I'll pass you over to VoiceOver Shasha. Hey guys, welcome to future VoiceOver Shasha. You know, when I bought the For Rent pack, I had all these big dreams of making giant apartment complexes where each unit could be customized to an individual household and their stories and all their Sims. And then every time I try and make giant apartment complexes, I just can't do it. Like, I lose my energy after designing and furnishing one unit. And like in this one, I think I have 8. I don't know. Maybe I need to like make it a bigger project, give myself a couple of months to do it instead of just a single speed build. But yeah, that's what happened here again. I wanted to make nice, cool, customized apartment, and instead they all end up looking pretty samey. But what I lack on the inside, I tried to make up for on the outside, which is, by the way, terrible life advice. But specifically, the 3 things I cared about was 1, I didn't want all 3 buildings to look the exact same. So the middle building is smaller and only has 2 units, as opposed to the 2 outer buildings, which each have 3 units. Secondly, the heights of the buildings end up being different, which I'll show you later. And thirdly, I wanted each of them to have a patio. Now, recently I've been apartment hunting, and there was this one place I saw that had patios, but with like a half wall. And I've never seen that before. Usually you see patios and they have like a fence. But when I was touring this unit and I saw the half wall, I was just like, wow, that offers you so much privacy. I love it. Like, I could actually build like a little reading nook out here and not feel like I'm exposed to the world. And so I was really inspired by that, and I wanted to include that like half-wall patio nook into these apartments. Now for the layout of the bottom floor, I actually quite liked how it turned out. You have a pretty big main bathroom and main bedroom for that matter, and I really like how the kitchen kind of leads out onto the patio and sort of frames it really nicely. And you even have room for a full dining table and a fireplace couch combo. I thought it looked really nice. I've been really liking the idea of putting the dining table up against a wall. It kind of feels like it solidifies it somehow. Plus, usually it gives you a little bit more space back in your room. Now you can see me struggling with the upstairs floor plan. My thought here was I wanted it to be able to accommodate the largest of the families that we have so far moving in, which is 5 Sims. But not only that, I wanted it to be able to grow, because that household that has 5 Sims has already had kids with 2 of my children. So I think it seems pretty likely that they're going to have even more kids. So I settled on this floor plan that has 6 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. That's not the best bedroom to bathroom ratio in the world, but like some of the bedrooms are supposed to be for small children, so they don't really need a whole bathroom to themselves. Now up until this point, I had been using a lot of placeholder furniture, but now I wanted to actually care about color scheme. So I went through and, starting with the kitchen, picked out a color scheme. I went with yellow because I feel like yellow is very versatile. A lot of different personalities can fit in it. A lot of different color schemes can kind of go well with it, and it's not too cliche yet. Also, this might have something to do with the fact that I've been reading the Bridgerton novels, and Mrs. Featherington talks about how she puts Penelope in yellow because it's such a happy color, and so that was kind of in the background of my brain. I was like, oh, it's such a happy color, even though we don't really trust Miss Featherington on fashion advice, do we? In case I haven't mentioned it yet, or you haven't guessed it yet, I've been pre-recording a lot of videos because I'm traveling a lot this summer and I don't know when I'm going to be able to make and record videos. Like, literally, I'm recording this voiceover from my hotel room. And I've been kind of nervous about making topical remarks because, like, what's relevant now isn't going to be relevant when I publish this video. But for context, right now, Bridgerton Season 3 Part 1 has just been released. And now we have to wait for Part 2. And so that's all my Instagram feed right now is Bridgerton this, Bridgerton that. And, like, honestly, I'm living for it. I really like the show, and I just got a Kindle, and I just got Kindle Unlimited. I think 4 of the books are on Kindle Unlimited, at least for sure 3. They have The Duke and I, which is Daphne's story. They have The Viscount Who Loved Me, which is Antony's story. And then they have Benedict's story, but Benedict hasn't had a season to himself yet, so they're kind of going out of order in the show. Notably, they don't have Penelope and Colin's book on Kindle Unlimited, but I'm kind of hoping that maybe after season 3 finishes, it might go on there. Because, like, I like the books, but I'm also paying like $12 a month for Kindle Unlimited. I kind of don't want to have to pay an additional $8 for a novel that might get put on Kindle Unlimited soon anyway. But all that to say, I fully read The Viscount Who Loved Me, and I really liked it. It just added a lot of depth to the characters that Bridgerton as a TV show doesn't really get to do, because they're so limited in like only 8 episodes per season, and there's so many side characters that it's kind of hard to give them all the depth they have in the books. And then I recently started reading The Duke and I, and I'm excited. I haven't gotten very far, but I'm excited. Back to the build a second, ignoring my Bridgerton rant. You might have noticed that I'm trying to figure out what to do with the exterior, and for a second there I kind of went with like a Tudor style, using a lot of the stuff from Get Together, because I like that style a lot. But as I was doing it, I was kind of thinking, this doesn't really make sense in Oasis Springs. Oasis Springs has much more of like a mission style, and so instead I kind of went with this Adobe house vibe, using a lot of wood accents. I still think it looks nice, and I think it fits the theme of Oasis Springs better. Next, I'm going through and furnishing the house. I don't really have a ton to say about this, to be honest. It's a pretty basic furnished house as far as things go. I kind of wanted it to be sort of bland and cookie cutter, because I feel like that's how apartments are. So there's not really a ton to say, honestly. One thing I did struggle with quite a bit though was window placement, because I wanted to be able to tile these units and have them next to each other. So I couldn't have windows on like the interior walls, but also I wanted windows on the edge. So I added all these windows, and then I ended up having to delete some later when I tiled them together, but I think it's fine. The other thing I really struggled with is how big this bedroom is. In real life, that's a really good thing, but in The Sims, it can kind of make it difficult to decorate. And so I went for a large wardrobe and kind of a desk area, and then you'll see later I add a little seating area as well. You can see we're still going ham on the yellow theme here, and I put an ottoman at the end of the bed, 1 to give more seating options, but 2 just to make the bed feel longer and fill up the space more. And then here's that seating nook I was talking about. It's kind of a good way to fill up some space if you don't really know what to put in a room in The Sims. Just add a lamp, a sofa chair, and a bookshelf, and voila, a mini little study. I added in those really cool bookshelves from the Crystal Creations kit, and then it was time for the upstairs. I just kind of copied the bathroom stuff from the downstairs to the upstairs, so that's nothing new. And then I put these paintings on the wall to make kind of a gallery wall, as well as the piano and some instruments to help with skill building. And then I needed to go through and make all the kids' rooms. Again, at this point I was getting really burnt out, so I sort of just did like bare minimum, kind of looks neat. This first room here is supposed to be a teen's room, and I was becoming painfully aware of how much yellow I was using, so I kind of went in more of a teal direction. The bed does still have yellow in it, I know, but like it has to match the rest of the house somehow. The next I worked on the nursery/crib area. I wanted stuff for infants. I added the changing table, which I very rarely have room to use, as well as a crib, which again I very rarely use, so it's kind of nice to build with those items sometimes. I added some cute wall decorations, and then it was time for the toddler's room. I absolutely adore these toddler beds from Eco Lifestyle, and I tried to make sure there was enough items in here for all the skill building needs your toddlers might require. Next up were these last two rooms with the Jack and Jill bathroom, and these ones are kind of more multi-purpose. They're not necessarily for teens, but they're also not necessarily for young adults. They're kind of just like in the middle. They're the filler rooms for when you have an extra sim and you don't really know what to do with them, but they have to have a place to stay. After fiddling with the roof color some more because I kept struggling to get it right, I moved on to the patio. There wasn't a ton I wanted to put out here, just like some basic furniture, and then that was the layout done, and it was time to copy over the rest of the rooms. I'm just gonna skip over that part though, because it was really long and tedious, and I even downloaded Toolmod to try and help, and it did not help, and I went back and forth, tried so many different techniques, and eventually I just kind of had to go through and do it the hard way, the very tedious way, but it worked. They're all copied, and now we can move on to more exciting things. So here I'm trying to vary the heights of the buildings. For one, it just looks more interesting, but then for two, it's very common with Adobe style houses to not have all the roof be the same height. I kind of ran into some difficulties because I was trying to use columns to outline the buildings, and columns don't really play nice with half walls or platforms. But even though it doesn't line up exactly everywhere, I still think it looks good overall, and especially like from a distance, I think the vibes are on point. Part of my thought in building this on a lot where there used to be a park was that we could add some sort of mini park for the tenants at the building to share. I didn't end up leaving quite enough room for that, so instead I settled for a pool, some tables, some chests, a nice little area for everyone to hang out. And with that, I'll hand you back to Past Shasha for moving everybody in and some closing remarks. Bye! Alright, and that's the apartment units done. Honestly, they're not too shabby. As far as identical 8 units could go, I think they're pretty alright. I especially like the downstairs, because it's a bit less utilitarian, whereas the upstairs, oh, some of these walls are not done. Hold on. The upstairs, I wanted it to be able to fit a ton of children at all different ages with varying personalities, so it looks a little bit strange. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. Alright, now that's everything. So I think the last thing I want to do is actually move everybody in. First, let's grab the Kalawai residents. And we can move them in here, just like that. Then let's grab the Fuentes, formerly the Ramesh household. Lastly, the Gan household. And I think we'll save Shasha visiting them for the next video. But yeah, thanks for watching, and as always, have a lovely day. Bye!